Alright, this is the project overview, and basically I'm just going to go ahead and just have a little fun and make a few shapes, and then it'll kind of give an idea of what we're going for. First though, let's pull in this green. So this is Marble Madness, a game I used to play a lot when I was a kid at Indiana Beach. It had a roller ball. It was really cool. It was really hard. But you're not limited to just doing this. There's these kind of marble setups. There's wooden ones. You can say wooden, marble wooden. Oh, that's going the wrong direction. Let's just say track. Let's see if we get something. Yeah, there we go. So there's stuff like this, which is it's got some interesting pieces. These may seem a little bit complex, but after I play around a little bit in Maya, some of the stuff may seem a little bit more simple. You know, some shapes like this where you have holes cut in there, that's going to be something a little bit different, but that could be done with a Boolean if you want to play around with Booleans too. So we could just show that really quick. So let's go ahead and let's start off and actually show a Boolean really quick. Now Booleans don't always yield the best geometry, so if you're doing stuff that needs to be clean for games or film, eventually you'd have to clean up Boolean geometry. But for this assignment, if the geometry is a little messy, as long as it works, you know, for the overall lesson, that's fine. Just so you can see how a Boolean's made, I'll make a cube, and I'll change this to, let's just change this to like 10. There we go. And then if I translate it in Y 10, then I know it's going to be sitting on the surface. Should be. Oh, 5. Half of that, right? There you go. Now it's sitting on the surface. Alright, and so to do a Boolean, you need two pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and do a cylinder. And let's go ahead and change the settings on the cylinder. So let's change this to 2.5, and height will make that 10. Actually, let's make it 15. Like so. And then in the Y, we will bring it up 7.5. There we go. Okay, so now that's sitting on the surface. Actually, when you're doing a Boolean, you're going to want to actually move this through a little bit. So what a Boolean will do is basically it can subtract shapes or add shapes from objects. Like I said, it's not always clean geometry that you get at the end, but for this project, if you wanted to do something similar to what we were just looking at, like those wood blocks with holes in it, you're more than welcome to select this, and then you're going to go into your mesh right here, and you can see there's Booleans right here, and you would want to do something like difference. And so what that did was it subtracted it from it, of course the order in which you select things is important. So I selected the cube first, and then shift selected the cylinder, and then of course go into mesh and then do it. So difference, and then you get a hole like that. And if you wanted to, you could go ahead and let's go ahead and undo that. I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Let's see. So, and I'll select this, shift select this, and I'll do a subtract. Go difference, and then I'll go ahead and select this, and then shift select this, and then do that again. So now I'll go difference like so. And you can see you got kind of an interesting Boolean shape. And like I said, this typically needs some cleaning up. It's not really necessarily good geometry for final work, but for this project, this is fine if you want to do some cool stuff like this. Make sure you would delete the history off of that. If you don't have this button, you can delete the history in here, delete by type history, or delete all by type history, and that's fine. and now this could be used. So that's how you do a Boolean. Let me go ahead and show you how to apply material to this, because I did say I wanted some colors on these things. So I'm going to go ahead and just select the face. So I just, to get a face, I go over my object, I right click, hold my right click down and drag to this thing where it says face. So now I can just click on these faces. Now I select one and then I shift select the next one. Okay, so if I want to turn this face a color, what I need to do is I need to go into my hypershade and make a material for this. You can also right click and drag and say assign new material. You know, you could say assign favorite material or whatever. So this is actually kind of an easier way, and so why don't I just do that? I'll say assign new material, and this dialog pops up. And I'm just going to go ahead and make this a Lambert, and I'll go ahead and give it a name. So it's the second one, because Lambert 1 you can't mess with. That's always in every Maya file. There's a default Lambert 1 and you can't change it. But the Lambert 2, I'm going to call this M for material underscore red, something like that. And then I'm just going to come into the color slot here, just click on it and choose the red. And then if I hit, so you can't see it yet, right? But if you hit 6 on your keyboard, then you'll be able to see it. So you got to hit 6 on your keyboard. So this is how you would color your objects. If you wanted to get really snazzy with it, you could put UVs on it and actually put like textures on it. But that's not necessary for this assignment, because UVs are kind of like a whole learning process in and of themselves. So, but if you want to jump ahead and start learning about that stuff, by all means. UVing a box is actually very easy, so that would be an easy thing to start with. Okay, so this is that's one thing you can do here to make a piece. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna do something fun here. I'm gonna go ahead and go into my curves, and I'm gonna draw a curve out with this pencil curve tool. So I'm just gonna come way over here, and I'm just gonna kind of do something like that. Now, the pencil curve tool, let me just right click on it and go to control verts. It lays down kind of a lot. So I'm going to actually move this one. Oops, let's just select that one. Maybe I have soft select on. I think I do. I do. That's why it's not letting me. Okay, so now I can move that individually. So I'm going to go ahead and resample this curve so that it's kind of smoother, that is. So I'm just going to go into curves and rebuild. I said resample, that's what Houdini calls it. It's rebuild in here. So let's go ahead, and 8 seems fine. So let's see, make sure it's on like 3 cubic if you want it nice and smooth. So there we go. So now it's smoother. And we can go to control verts. It's probably about the same amount of control verts, but it smoothed it out a little bit. And so what I'm going to do with this is, actually I'm going to try to put a deformer on this and see how that looks. So let's go ahead and just drop like a sine deformer on here. So let's bring this over here, and there's our nonlinear sine. And you may have to adjust the sign so that it's hitting this thing. Now I'm actually not even quite sure if it does change the curve. For a second there I wasn't sure if it was going to change the curve because I didn't see anything happen. So I can go ahead and play with that. You know, you can put a bend on it as well. You know, you can put a couple different things. So bend. Oops, let's have the right thing selected. There we go, nonlinear bend. And then let me just lay the bend out like that and curve it like this or something. And I can actually go, let's do the low bound so it's only doing one side. It's like curving one side and not the other. All right, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. I have no clue if this would actually work. But you know, like if you actually set this up in real life. But I'm going to go ahead and delete the history on this so that it'll get rid of all those deformers. So you can see right here, you can delete non-deformer history. So you can actually delete everything except for the deformers. Because there are some times where you do need those deformers to play with later. And so now we got this curve here, and I can go ahead and make another cylinder, and let's go ahead and change the radius to, I don't know, let's say 10, and we'll change the height to 20, maybe more, maybe 50 or something like that. Let's change this to like 5. And let's go ahead and give it height-wise. So sometimes what I do is I'll look at it and I'll say, okay, height-wise, I've got 50 in my so basically 50 centimeters high. So if I go ahead and make this like half of that, like 25, that's typically going to be, that will probably be enough, but it'll be kind of like, let's hit F on the keyboard. Let's move this a little bit. So it's like little rectangles, but if you want it like exactly square, typically you have to get the right ratio of height to how many segments are going around. So this looks pretty good. 30 is fine. Okay, so now that I have that, I can go ahead and select the curve first, shift select this, and then I can go to my deformers, and I can go to curve warp, and there you go. And then in my attribute editor, so we're on the we were on the shader. What we want to find is the curve warp, and then here I can go ahead and just like lengthen this and do something like that, and maybe offset a little bit, and we can actually lengthen it even more if we want. We can say 3, and let's actually offset it back a little bit like this. There we go. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so like we could say like this is part of our piping system or something, and of course, you know, like if you want to change this object, all you have to do is actually go into the curve and go to control verts, and you can start moving this like so. Let's get some of these down here, and you can see it's kind of like interactively moving it. Ugh. This is where the sometimes the selection's hard to do when you have a mesh behind it. So what you do is you just turn that off. If you don't have it rolled out, it's just roll that out and then turn off that little swatch right there, and then you can mess around with this thing a lot easier. So let's grab that, and maybe something like that. So you can see that like this is a way you can make like a cool track type of thing, and you could have like, think about supports, like you want to have supports that are holding it up, so they'd be kind of like pillars holding it up. So fun stuff. Let's see. So you can even take the original cylinder, and you can go ahead and duplicate that if you wanted to. I'm just going to go ahead and actually put a material on it. Assign material. Let's put a Lambert. It's going to put a new one, Lambert 3. We're going to name it M_blue. So we're going to go ahead and turn this guy blue. And then, of course, hit 6 on your keyboard. Did I not assign that? I thought I did. Okay, I think I have to have that on. Right click and assign existing material. There we go, blue. I don't know why I'm not seeing it though. That's strange. Well, it's on there, and for some reason it does not want to show up. And yet I can see this one. So Not sure why. Let's see if this has something to do with UVs. No, it does have UVs. It's still a polygon then. NURBs have UVs too, but you can't manipulate NURBs UVs really. It doesn't really let you do it. Yeah, so I'm stumped. I don't know. I'll have to come back and explain why. I'll have to figure it out and explain why I can't see this. Okay, I know I had a problem there. What I did to fix it, it's very strange. I don't know why it was doing this, but I just came into the hypershade, so let me show you how you get there. Rendering editors is under Windows, rendering editors, and then hypershade. And this is kind of like the whole menu that has all of your material information in it. And I just made sure I had my cylinder selected, and then I right-clicked on this and said Assign Material to Selection. Now, I thought I had already done that. Maybe if I review the video, I'll find out that I missed it or something. But the bizarre thing was that when I turn on 5, which is supposed to be just smooth shaded without the color on it, it's because you can see the color's not on this now. If I hit 6 it is, but if I hit 5 it's not. But on this it did come up as being colored, and I don't think I've ever seen this happen before. So there's first time for everything, right? So let me move the hypershade off here. And so anyway, the idea behind the project is to go and make a really neat looking track and get used to using deformers and employ the other stuff that you use to, you can use surfaces and lofts and revolves if you want, and just have fun and make something fun looking, and then consider in the future, if you really wanted to, you could take something like this track and actually turn it into a physics simulation and see if you can get it to work right. It would be tricky, but I'm sure it can be done. I've done a few little things like this, so that might be something that you can do later as a project on your free time. Okay, thanks for watching, and so just go ahead and have fun and make something that looks really neat.